Readers, has anyone ever told you something that just blew you away? The other day, I was talking to my neighbor who's learning all about the solar system and planets, and he told me that about 1 million planet Earths could fit inside the sun. Isn't that incredible? Immediately, I started to picture it. Maybe you did as well. And I could feel my brain literally growing. At first, I was just fascinated by the thought of it, imagining what it could look like, thinking about it like a puzzle piece or like a bucket you just keep loading planet Earths inside of. And then I realized that it's so much more than that. I started to wonder if all the parts of the solar system are that much bigger than our planet. And if you could fit maybe even more Earths into other planets or other stars like the sun. And then I could just feel my ideas kind of starting to open up and my curiosity starting to spark. Maybe that's happened to you before. Maybe you've read something or have been told a fact and you just are all of a sudden on this adventure where you just can't stop thinking about it. You want to start researching it. Well, that's the amazing work that nonfiction reading can bring us to. Today, I want to teach you that nonfiction readers ask themselves, what do I notice? As they study the details of their texts. As they read on, they then ask, what am I learning about this? And they do this because thinking about these questions helps readers to grow knowledge on a topic. Now, I want to give you a few tips on how to do this. And I know that you've probably heard what I'm about to say before, but it's just so important and it's also easy to forget. So will you watch me as I do this? Because this is the kind of work that you are going to do when you go off to read today. When you read, you want to be really trying to ask yourself these two questions. What do I notice and what am I learning? So let me just show you what it looks like first. And maybe you could be the judge of whether or not I'm really reading nonfiction to the best of my ability to notice and to learn and to be fascinated. Okay. Why do dung beetles love dung? Dung beetles eat the droppings of other animals. Cool. They don't have noses. Okay, not working, is it? Again, as you might remember from our other lesson, I'm kind of reading mechanically again. I'm kind of reading things line by line without really taking much of a pause or word for word. And I'm not giving myself enough room or space to really take it all in and grow an idea. So I'm going to try that again. And this time I'm going to really zoom in on the details, really focusing on what feels special and specific. So watch me as I ask myself this first question. What do I notice? Well, right away, my eyes are drawn to the title. Maybe yours are too. And that's good, strong nonfiction reading 101. So as a nonfiction reader, you always want to go to those subtitles in addition to all the titles that we see throughout the text. So now I know that this section is going to be answering this question. Why do dung beetles love dung? Already I'm off to a better start because I know that this whole section is answering that specific question. So I'm going to be learning about why dung beetles like dung. So I'm going to start reading and watch me again to see how I really try to notice the specifics. Dung beetles eat the droppings of other animals. Okay, so that must be why they're called dung beetles, because they literally eat dung. And I've learned that dung also can mean poop. So they're basically like poop eaters. Gross. Okay, what else? They don't have noses like ours and aren't repulsed by stinky piles of poop. Oh, so that's why they're able to do it. Do you hear how I'm reacting? And I'm kind of like remembering things that maybe I've learned before and maybe kind of gathering some information before I go forward. Like for instance, right now, I'm starting to think about how we learned earlier that our bodies can tell when something's bad for us. That's why we are totally grossed out by gross rotting food. We don't want to be near it. We think it's disgusting. It smells bad. We learned that in one of the earlier chapters. So now I'm thinking that the reason why they're able to do this, these dung beetles, is because, well, they don't have noses. And so I'm starting to think that this section will probably teach me more ways they're different than humans, like way different than humans than I would have ever thought. So I'm already noticing a lot. I'm thinking back to what I've already learned. I'm looking on with thinking about what this section is going to be about. And I'm already starting to do the work of what am I learning? I'm thinking already about what I've already learned. That's part of it. Now, as I'm reading on, I want to be thinking about how the next parts fit with what I already know or fit what came earlier in the text. So now I'm going to try to answer the second question. What am I learning? Okay, so one way I like to start this is by looking first at the text illustrations or the text features. So we have some illustrations here. Let's just take a look at these before we go any further. We have these little dung beetles inside of a piece of dung or a poop. It says dwellers, tunnelers, rollers. Okay, so not only will this section be teaching me or answering the question, why do dung beetles love dung? I'll probably learn about the different reasons why they love it and maybe the different ways that they kind of use it. Do you see how I'm already off to a better start? Not only am I zooming in on specifics, thinking back to what I already know, thinking about what I'm going to be learning, but I'm starting to also get really deep into maybe what the big idea here is. So now I'm going to be thinking about these possible facts that I'll be learning about them. Let me read on a bit. They especially love the dung of animals that eat plants because plants can be tough to digest. There's still lots of good nutrition left after a cow has finished lunch. Okay, so I'm thinking that one of the animals that it hangs around a lot is a cow. So maybe like farms are covered in these things. There are thousands of species of dung beetles, and they come in three kinds: dwellers, tunnelers, and rollers. There it is. So they love dung because it's their food and they're not repulsed by it. And there's three different kinds of dung beetles. So I also had to kind of revise what I'm learning as well. I thought that it would be like, oh, these are the three different reasons why. No, actually, it's the three kinds of dung beetles. So I'm noticing the details deeply by looking at the title, by looking at the details and stopping and thinking. And then I'm also really processing and monitoring my learning, asking myself, what am I learning? Thinking back to what I've already learned, using the text features to help guide me, and then stopping, thinking, and revising as I go. So when you go off today, I want you to use these two questions in your own independent nonfiction reading. And as you read, stop and think, what do I notice and what am I learning? You'll do this today in the nonfiction online resources. And don't forget to make your jots. I can't wait to see what you do and to learn all about these new topics that you're growing ideas about. Have fun.